Whoa, okay. Let's just start right there. No intro, no messing around, just that. And yeah, it is a lot to take in, I get it. But believe it or not, this one single photo is what kicked off a whole comedic monologue. One so sharp, you could almost call it a medical procedure.
And that, right there with Jon Stewart's immediate, totally unfiltered reaction, you can just hear the record scratch, right? That one line, it just set the stage for a complete and total comedic takedown.
Okay, so let's dive in. Today, we're breaking down Jon Stewart's, let's call it scathing medical examination of Donald Trump. So you might want to grab your lab coats, because this is going to get a little weird.
All right, first up on the examination table, the hands. Stewart just immediately zooms in on what he called the blotchy mitts, and let's just say he had some questions. But see, it wasn't just the bruises that caught his eye. No, he zeroed in on what looked like a pretty clumsy attempt to cover him up with makeup. And that one little observation, it sent him spiraling down a comedic rabbit hole toward a pretty wild diagnosis.
Yeah, you heard that right. Leprosy. I mean, who else but Jon Stewart could connect a politician's hands to an ancient disease by way of a trip to Sephora? The logic is just completely absurd, the delivery is flawless, and the result? Pure comedic gold.
And really, this is the heart of the joke, right? It's all about the contrast. You've got Stewart's insane theory of makeup-resistant leprosy on one side, and on the other, the official story, just too many handshakes. I mean, I'll let you decide which one of those makes for better television.
But oh no, Stewart was nowhere near done. From the hands, his comedic gaze travels south, all the way down to the ankles, which he then immediately frames as like a nature documentary about CANKLES.
And the setup for this was just perfect. Stewart actually played a clip from Joanna Coles over at the Daily Beast, and she described the ankles with all this dramatic flair. You could literally see the light bulb just pop on over his head.
The second he heard that, his brain went to one place and one place only. A nature documentary. He saw the potential for a full-blown David Attenborough parody and just absolutely ran with it.
And he fully, 100% commits to the bit. He just slips right into that iconic, soothing narration, and he paints this whole picture of a struggling animal out on the savannah that's, well, it's about to become dinner.
And there it is, the punchline. It's not just any dinner, it's a fancy French dish. The sheer absurdity of naming a menu item after a political figure's ankles, it's just genius. Absolutely genius.
And here we go again. It all comes down to that contrast. You have Stewart's ridiculous diagnosis of cankles au poivre landing perfectly against the super dry, very technical White House explanation.
So Stewart's analysis didn't just stop at the physical stuff, it also went digital. And that brings us to this number, 20. Now that's not an age, not a date, it's a measurement of time.
20 minutes. Can you believe that? That is all it took. Stewart pointed out that after just 20 minutes of social media silence from Trump, a hashtag started trending that he was literally dead. It's just a hilarious and kind of scary observation about our nonstop media cycle, you know?
And really, this is the question that's just hanging over the whole monologue, isn't it? After all the jokes about leprosy and lions, Stewart finally gets to the heart of all the speculation. He puts the question right out there, directly to the audience. So now we arrive at the verdict. After presenting all of this, let's call it comedic evidence, Stewart finally delivers his conclusion. And trust me, it's probably not what you're expecting.
Okay, so after all of that, Stewart's answer is pretty simple. Yep, Trump is alive. He just puts all that speculation to bed right then and there. But come on, this is Jon Stewart we're talking about. The answer couldn't just end there. And there it is, the classic Stewart twist. It's such a perfectly crafted little hedge. He gives you the technical answer, but at the exact same time, he's implying that, all is not quite well. It's just a masterful comedic line. But then comes the real pivot. Stewart makes the case that the actual issue here isn't Trump's health at all. The real issue is us.
I mean, what a fascinating turn, right? Stewart argues that we are just so used to seeing these perfectly curated, perfectly filtered images online that we now apply those same impossible standards of physical perfection to literally everyone, and that includes our nearly 80-year-old politicians.
And this brings him to his final, very self-aware point. He straight up admits that this entire medical appraisal, the jokes, the theories, all of it, it's not a real diagnosis.
It's just a more sophisticated way of throwing an insult.
And just to prove his own point, he ends with one last perfect, self-aware joke that just wraps the entire thing up in a neat little bow. He's basically saying, see, I'm doing it right now. And it's just an insult disguised as a question.
So what do you think? Is Stewart right? Is all of this just high-level name-calling, totally driven by our Instagram culture, or is there something more to it? You gotta let us know what you think down in the comments. Seriously, we read every single one.
And hey, if you had fun with this breakdown, do us a massive favor and smash that like button. And for sure, make sure you subscribe and ring that notification bell so you do not miss our next one. Thanks so much for watching.